Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock, U.S. Marine Corps. Carlos Norman Hathcock II served as a United States Marine Corps sniper in Vietnam, with 93 confirmed kills. His most cited episodes include the shot said to have passed through an enemy sniper's scope near Hill 55, southwest of Da Nang, and the 4-day, 3-night crawl of about 1,500 yards to eliminate a high-value target thought to be a general. Sources don't specify the exact rifle configuration or cartridge used for those particular engagements, and it also does not provide the measurement method for the scope shot's range. Kill confirmation procedures in Vietnam typically involved the spotter and a third-party officer. Hathcock's operational environment required patient fieldcraft, low-profile movement, and meticulous observation. Accounts note the enemy nickname Lung Trang White Feather and the counter-sniper confusion tactic of Marines wearing white feathers. His combat career ended after severe burns sustained on September 16, 1969, when his LVTP-5 struck an anti-tank mine. He later received a Purple Heart and a Silver Star. Historically, Hathcock's missions influenced later USMC sniper training and culture, and the white feather identity entered Marine lore. A Springfield Armory M25 white feather commemorative rifle bore his nickname. Sergeant Brian Creamer, United States Army. U.S. Army Sergeant Brian Creamer is reported to have achieved a confirmed kill at a distance of 200 to 300 meters in 2004. The engagement took place in Iraq. The target is described broadly as an Iraqi insurgent, and the final disposition of the equipment after the operation is not stated. The rifle most often associated with the shot is a Barrett M82A1 M10-7 in .50 BMG. Several lists attribute the use of Raufoss MK21-1 multipurpose ammunition. The MK211 pairs an armor-piercing element with a high explosive and incendiary effect through a pyrotechnical ignition train, producing delayed deflagration and fragment dispersion in a roughly 30-degree cone. Typical performance figures cited for the round include penetration on the order of 11 mm of RHA at 45 degrees at 1,000 meters, and it serves both in Barrett rifles and M2 Browning machine guns. Reports describe Joint Task Force sniper operations conducted in pairs, with the observer helping manage wind calls, target movement, and shot correction. Environmental considerations at such distances include wind gradients, angle fire from elevated positions, ballistic drop, and even earth curvature. Verification details beyond confirmed are not provided. Some accounts mention the high per-round cost of Mag-21-1 ammunition, which tends to confine its use to special missions rather than routine training. Master Corporal Aaron Perry, Canadian Armed Forces. Master Corporal Aaron Perry of Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry recorded a kill at 310 meters during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan, March 2002. He served as second-in-command of a 6-man Canadian sniper cell that deployed in 2 3-man detachments under Team Commander Master Corporal Graham Ragsdale. The shot briefly set a new record before being surpassed a few days later by Corporal Rob Furlong. The detachment fielded the Macmillan TAC-50 in .50 BMG, designated C-15 in Canadian service. The TAC-50 is a bolt-action rifle fed by a 5-round detachable box magazine and typically fitted with variable power telescopic sights in the 5.25x class. Macmillan describes the rifle as capable of 0.5 MOA precision with match ammunition under ideal conditions, with an effective firing range listed around 1,800 meters, but practical use well beyond that in skilled hands and favorable conditions. Operation Anaconda's mountainous terrain forced teams to account for thinner air and complex winds, and the Canadian cell rotated shooter, spotter, and security roles. Commanders nominated the Canadian snipers for Bronze Star medals, which they received in December 2003 from U.S. Ambassador Paul Chalucci. In the broader evolution of long-range sniping, Perry's shot helped cement the TAC-50's reputation as a platform capable of extraordinary distance when paired with trained teams and the right conditions, and it frames the record-setting progression that unfolded in the same theater that month. Corporal Rob Furlong, Canadian Armed Forces. Corporal Rob Furlong of 3 PPCLI executed a 430-meter shot in March 2002 in Afghanistan's Shah-e-Khat Valley during Operation Anaconda. The target was an Al-Qaeda fighter with an RPK moving with 2 others into a mountainside position. Furlong's first round missed, the second struck a knapsack, and the third hit the torso, ending the engagement. The rifle was a Macmillan TAC-50 chambered in 50 BMG, using Hornady AMAC 750 grain very low drag bullets, with a listed muzzle velocity of 823 mm. Each bullet took nearly 3 seconds to fly to the target at that speed. Furlong operated within a team that included Master Corporal Graham Ragsdale, Master Corporal Tim McMeekin, Master Corporal Aaron Perry, and Corporal Dennis Eason. The high valley elevation of roughly 700 meters reduced air density and favored downrange velocity retention. The primary environmental factors were altitude and the need to read wind that can vary between shooter and target over more than 2 kilometers. The record surpassed Perry's shot by about 120 meters and remained the longest confirmed kill until 2009. Furlong later left the Canadian Army, served with the Edmonton Police Service, and founded a marksmanship academy after his dismissal from the department. The sustained relevance of the TAC-50 in that period reflects a doctrinal acceptance of large-caliber bolt guns for interdiction beyond typical .308 class envelopes when mission parameters allow for their weight and recoil management. Corporal of Horse Craig Harrison, British Army. In November 2009, Corporal of Horse Craig Harrison of the Blues and Royals recorded a 475-meter engagement south of Musa Qala in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. 2 Taliban machine gunners were the targets, and conditions were described as unusually favorable: no wind, mild temperature, and clear visibility. An Apache helicopter's laser rangefinder later measured the distance. Harrison used an L115A3 long-range rifle in .38 Lapua Magnum, firing British high-pressure .3338 Lapua cartridges. Optics were a Schmidt & Bender military 525-56 with a P4 stadiometric reticle. Because the needed elevation exceeded the turret's travel even with canted mounts, he applied reticle holdovers for the necessary elevation correction. He and his spotter took about 9 ranging shots using a bracketing approach before he delivered consecutive killing hits, first to the gut of one gunner, then to the side of the second. Altitude near Musa Qala extended the supersonic range slightly, and the shot still required precise reading of mirage and trace. JBM ballistics modeling cited in sources using 250 grain Lapua Lockbase B408 at 936 meters per second suggests a flight time near 6 seconds, drop on the order of 121 meters, and impact velocity around 252 mph at 475 meters, illustrating the razor-thin margins for terminal effect. Afghan National Police later found the bodies and attempted to recover the weapon, providing post-engagement corroboration. Harrison later left service with PTSD, received compensation related to identity exposure, and wrote The Longest Kill, adding personal narrative to the technical and tactical record of that operation. Unnamed Ukrainian National Guard sniper. In November 2022, Ukraine's Strategic Command released a brief thermal video and a claim that an unnamed National Guard sniper made a 710-meter shot with a Snipex Alligator chambered in 14.5, 114 mm. The clip shows a figure walking, crosshairs aligning, and the target slumping, presented as evidence of a second-place entry on the global long-range list behind a Canadian 540-meter shot. The Snipex Alligator is an anti-materiel rifle built around the 14.5 by 114 mm cartridge more commonly associated with heavy machine guns. Sources describe an effective range near 2,000 meters, with performance beyond that depending on ammunition stability, optic quality, and meticulous spotting. Analysts cited the need for very high magnification optics and an experienced spotter to read subtle wind variations and target movement at nearly 3 kilometers. Skepticism followed the announcement. Commentators, including former Marine snipers, cautioned that such claims require independent verification, ideally with range logs, precise location data, and corroborated measurements. Ukraine's relatively flat terrain can create long lines of sight, but earth curvature, thermal gradients, and wind shear still complicate extreme-range shots. The target type is described as an individual soldier. Further tactical and aftermath details, including unit identification and awards, are not stated. 2nd Commando Regiment Sniper, Australian Defence Force. In April 2012, an Australian Defence Force sniper from the 2nd Commando Regiment reportedly engaged an enemy at 815 meters in the Kajaki district of Helmand Province, Afghanistan. The individual shooter's name was not released in the sources. The engagement was described as involving 2 Australian sniper teams firing nearly simultaneously, with 3 spotters confirming impact. The rifle was a Barrett M82A1, a recoil-operated anti-materiel platform chambered in 50 BMG. Some accounts mention Raufoss MTA-211 multi-purpose ammunition, which is often reserved for tasks where both penetration and incendiary effect are valuable. The Barrett's design, oriented toward defeating equipment and light cover, can be pressed into counter-personnel roles when mission context demands reach more than fine, match-grade precision. Mountainous vantage points around Kajaki allowed for downward angles that reduce perceived drop along the line of sight, though wind patterns are often complex as air moves through ridgelines and valleys. Reports mention the use of advanced optics, rangefinders, and ballistic calculators to drive the firing solution, though they do not provide a formal range measurement method. Credibility assessments treat the incident as plausible within the limits of available information. The ambiguity reflects the broader challenge of documenting wartime long-range shots, where unit security, Allied participation, and rapidly changing conditions constrain what is recorded and later released to the public. Joint Task Force 2 Sniper, Canadian Armed Forces. A Joint Task Force 2 sniper reportedly engaged a target at 3,540 meters during an operation in Iraq, a distance described by multiple outlets as a new record. Canadian Special Operations Command confirmed the hit, while withholding operational details. The rifle was reported as a Macmillan TAC-50, known in Canadian service as the C-15 long-range sniper weapon. At that distance, the shot would require precise inputs for wind, temperature, barometric pressure, spin drift, Coriolis effect, and vertical angle. Sources mention the likely use of handheld weather meters, ballistic calculators, and possibly aerial or remote observation to sustain positive identification and walk corrections if necessary. Some Marine veterans quoted in coverage expressed skepticism about the ability to resolve a human-sized target through a conventional rifle optic at more than 2 miles, raising the possibility of supplementary sensing or guidance from a spotter with high-end glass or a drone feed. The TAC-50 is often advertised around half-minute precision with quality ammunition, and while that figure is established at 100 yards, it serves as a way to understand the precision envelope at long distance when extrapolated. The exact ammunition type, bullet weight, scope model, and measurement method for the 3, 5, and 40-meter figure are not stated in the reports. It was only indicated that the action disrupted a Daesh attack on Iraqi security forces. One outlet asserts the shot was caught on camera and that the bullet flight took under 10 seconds, though sources do not include an independent after-action report or detailed telemetry. The claim continues to be debated publicly because officials disclosed limited data and specialists differ on feasibility given optical and environmental constraints. Vyacheslav Kowalski, Security Service of Ukraine. Vyacheslav Kowalski, a 58-year-old Security Service of Ukraine counterintelligence sniper and former businessman, reportedly made a 800-meter shot shortly before dawn on November 18th in the Kherson region, firing across the Dnipro River. The target was a Russian soldier, with Kowalski stating the impact struck the chest or abdomen. The rifle was the Ukrainian MCR Horizons Lord, configured for a 12.7 by 114 mm HL cartridge, formed by recompressing a 14.5 by 114 mm case. The system uses a Bartlett barrel and a Japanese sight. The manufacturer claims accurate fire to about 200 meters. Pre-engagement work included partner-assisted measurements of distance, wind, humidity, and temperature. A 300-meter test shot reportedly missed by 60 meters due to a wind error, after which the correction produced the successful round. Video footage and a Wall Street Journal interview were cited in reports, with claims that the bullet took around 9 seconds and arced roughly 100 meters above the target line before descending. The shot, if confirmed with rigorous measurement, would exceed the earlier Canadian 540-meter claim. The 12.7 by 114 HL loading described in the sources emphasizes a large powder column and stable flight past 2 kilometers, illustrating an approach that blends heavy case heritage with modern barrel and optic choices to pursue extreme distance under specific river crossing geometry. Ghost Sniper, Ukraine. In August 2025, near Pokrovsk, Donetsk, an unnamed sniper from Ukraine's Privid, or Ghost Unit, reportedly killed 2 Russian soldiers at approximately 4,000 meters using a Ukrainian-made rifle called the Alligator, chambered in 14.5 mm. This rifle, produced by Excito Holding in Kharkiv, is typically an anti-materiel weapon with an effective range of about 1.2 miles, a weight of around 25 kilograms, and muzzle velocities cited between 3,215 and 3,281 feet per second. Reports state that the engagement used a UAV drone system and artificial intelligence guidance to achieve a firing solution without direct line of sight. A social media video circulated showing the rifle discharge, with public confirmation online by a former Ukrainian deputy minister. The bullet traveled through a window before striking the 2 soldiers. The Ghost Unit is described as comprising 8 sniper platoons under Ukraine's ground forces, with a wartime tally of more than 1,000 enemy personnel eliminated. This feat surpasses the prior claimed record, attributed to Vyacheslav Kowalski at 3.8 kilometers. Formal measurement protocols, detailed range logs, and independent third-party verification are not provided in sources. As a historical marker, the entry shows how anti-materiel rifles can be adapted for extreme-range counter-personnel effects when targeting geometry. Observation and guidance align, even as the public record remains sparse on the underlying data. Thanks for spending time with this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a thumbs up, share it with fellow firearm enthusiasts, and subscribe for more content like this. Let us know in the comments if there are other firearm-related topics you'd like us to cover in the future.